Ardor and NXT family, we have been igniting this blockchain for a few days now, and we are ready to take it even further. We have with us Lior Yaffe, otherwise known as Riker, and also known as the core developer of NXT and Ardor projects, and the managing director of Jelurida. I'm the crypto woman. You know me also as Elizabeth, and we're ready to get started. Hi, Lior.
Hi, Elizabeth. Hi, nice to see you again.
Yes, it's nice to have you join us. It's an honor to have you join us. You're very busy these days.
It's my honor to talk to you. I mean,
So thank you. Thank you. I'm sure the community is looking forward to hearing from you.
mm,
So part of this celebration is we're introducing community members one to another here in these conversations. And it occurred to me that maybe we ought to know who you are. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
um, okay, so I'm 47 years old. I live in Israel with my wife, two kids, dog and cat.
Oh, beautiful
Not
family.
not far from the sea. Um, in my professional work, I'm a software engineer. I mean, I've been so all my career. Um, Worked in various corporate jobs, mostly with mainframe integration products. Um, until I came across the blockchain and specifically the NXT project, and it's
Like
kind of
everybody
changed my
else.
life for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. So, how did you discover the blockchain, or more specifically, how did you discover NXT community?
Right. At some point, I think, after Bitcoin jumped to like $1,000, um, I decided to look what is this Bitcoin thingy, and I immediately got hooked up. I got amazed by this technology and how decentralized network can reach consensus, and so started reading everything I can get about this technology. And then I started to ask myself how I can participate. And so I looked, because I'm mainly a Java developer, I looked for a project that is developed in Java. I looked at Bitcoin J, for example, that was back there. Then I found NXT and I saw how much fun it is, with what was there, the copy protection bugs and all the stories, the BC Next, and all the mystery around the project, and of course the phenomenal returns to investors. So I started watching NXT closely. And then I think around August 2014, I saw that the NXT team is looking for developers, and then I started. I offered myself as to try to fix some bugs. Started slowly, and then at some point I found myself working on the monetary system, what is called now. And gradually I got pulled into the project more and more. like,
Until
um,
it became a life changer.
yes, for
Well, it
sure.
sounds like you were able to bring your unique experience and skill sets to the
Yep.
block.
Uh,
Yeah.
I would say that first time when I started to study the blockchain, I mean, I come from the business corporate world. I immediately understood that that this is where we need to go. I mean, the public blockchains are amazing. I mean, what happens there, and there are lots of applications. But at some point, we also need to figure out how to penetrate the corporate world,
Mhm.
and use blockchain as an infrastructure product. like kind of a database or enterprise serial bus that releases corporations from their own information silos and allows them to participate between themselves without having to trust each other. So that's where I hope this technology is going.
More into a trustless economy.
Yeah. Yes, because there are so many areas in our life right now that are done in a completely awkward ways because of these trust issues that entities cannot trust each other, so they have to duplicate information or use some mitigation layers and which come in all shapes and forms. So that's where I see blockchain.
Yeah. So yeah, the way it's done now is definitely complicated and convoluted, and you see blockchain as a simplified solution. Once we get through the complicated process of delivering it, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Wow. That's interesting. So what is it about the NXT technology that grabbed you?
Okay, so NXT, first of all, the proof of stake is algorithm is very, very important. I mean, with everything bad that has been said about it, it's working excellent in production for several years. And it's also very, very good for corporate environments where, mining competition and all this does not make any sense. So this gives a very good entry point into the corporate world. The fact that NXT is, I mean, I know it's maybe not simple enough, but it's much simpler than most other solutions out there. The fact that we provide out of the box a fully functional wallet with all the features and user interface, which might be simpler maybe or with better user experience, but it's definitely a huge advantage over the competition. Yes, and it's NXT is kind of a product that makes sense. I mean, every design decision can be explained rationally. Things that you don't find in many other projects, which are which promise this and delivers, nothing.
Right. I've said it before that sometimes over the last 4 years, it seems miraculous in a short time since we started to this place. And other times I've been extraordinarily impatient for this day when we can offer a fully deliverable system to businesses. But as we were patiently waiting, part of that process was your deliberation and you're making sure that everything could be explained and that everything fully did work. And when you think about that, you have to appreciate it, that it wasn't rushed, that it's truly a tested and tried and secure product. So I'm happy to be part of it.
Okay.
But so what's your favorite part of this whole thing? What makes you excited about getting up in the morning and starting to work on it?
Oh, I think that first of all, I mean, setting aside, the technical project, I mean, the fact that I see all this community around NXT, all these wonderful people that are getting so involved, and any questions that someone asks is immediately answered. And if we made a mistake, someone will immediately notify us and explain exactly what we did wrong. I mean, it's very enjoyable to develop software in this environment. I mean, when you get immediate feedback, you have to understand that when you develop a mainframe integration product, sometimes you release a new version and it takes 3 months until you get the first bug report because nobody used it until then. And here, everything is immediate. Okay, everything is immediate, everything is in public. You have to be careful, of course, but it gives you a real kick as a software engineer to get so much feedback about the work you do in such a short cycle of time. And it's also great to see that the project, I mean, NXT and Ardor gaining immense popularity. I mean, I can see this from the views on the YouTube channel and the Medium articles, and of course the website that almost can cope with a number of visitors. And so I think blockchain itself becoming very popular, and specifically our projects are gaining a lot of momentum right now.
I want to go back to the community statement and just give you a little bit more feedback. You've been referred to as our fearless leader, don't you?
As what?
Our fearless leader.
Fearless leader, oh my God.
I've heard that mentioned
Okay.
times. And also, I think that there's a lot of appreciation that you are stepping out and speaking on our behalf, and just really being a figurehead and a presence out there for us, because we needed that direction for a while, at least publicly. And I think there's a lot of appreciation and kudos due to you for that role. So thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, when you have a startup and you are sitting in front of the computer and there are no sales team and no marketing and no you are the salesman, and you need to do the marketing, and you need to evangelize. And it took me a while to get there, because before, until May this year, I still kept my day job. So it was really, so it was kind of problematic, to lead this project and while working for someone else, because there was no funding. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And that amazes me too. Absolutely. I've seen it come through a few times that people have commented, where's the rest of your team? This team is so small. And then you think about it further, that, Petco didn't start until full-time recently either. And you and everybody was working this as a second job, and it wasn't fully funded and paying you all those dollars that an ICO would have paid in other circumstances.
Yes, but I have to say that many other people helped and are still helping with various topics. I mean, guys like Scripteron, for example. I'm trying to remember, we had an excellent developer named Holger that did a lot of work on the wallet, and Mr. V. Few others that I apologize in advance that I don't remember right now. But many people were involved in the development of NXT, not only the Jelurida people.
Right, especially at the beginning, a lot of people were giving code fixes for all of those bugs or improvements, suggesting improvements and things like that.
Yes, so sometimes we just get some pull request from someone with something good. Okay. It happens quite a lot. We actually, at some point, we did some bounties also for development. But right now we are moving to more corporate structure, and to hire full-time developers and start to build a more of a business. And I mean, community, it's still something we need to work together. I mean, how to make it into a business, but still keep this wonderful community, because it's giving a lot of power to the NXT and Ardor brands. The fact that we have such a wonderful community that is pushing us everywhere. And lots of our business connections are also coming from people in the community.
Right. Right. Well, when you stick around so long, your brain just starts churning all these ideas, right? So those people have come up with some really good ideas. I'm even thinking of Martis and his Europeg child chain.
Yeah.
That's just pretty incredible. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to ask it. What's the exciting project you're working on now?
Okay, first thing first, we need to get Ardor into production, see that everything is actually working. I mean, I have Ardor is on testnet for almost a year now. I think maybe it's the longest ever project on testnet. I mean, maybe set aside the Bitcoin projects that took even longer. But so it's been tested and tested all over. But still, you know, when you release such a huge new product to production, there's always risks, and the focus in the upcoming weeks will be to stabilize Ardor, see that it has not only that it works and secure, but also has a reasonable user experience, and that it can be used for the purpose it was built, for building applications on top of it.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's a reassurance to know that that's going to be your focus for the next few weeks.
What?
I said that is a reassurance that will be your focus for the next few weeks. That you're just not going to push it out there and go play at the beach.
we can't move forward before we have the basics running, right. Okay? And then we also need to implement, you know, the pruning and the snapshot so that it actually reaches the maximum potential that we are planning. We expect several hard forks during 2018. During these hard forks, we'll introduce additional features according to the roadmap, and we'll also have a chance to add additional child chains.
Okay.
We have a long
child chain. Will there always need to be a fork for every addition of a child chain?
Right now, yes. We have a long list of businesses that contacted us about creating a child chain. We are in various stages of progress with each one. Right now, we want to treat each child chain as you know, as a business, to make sure there will be an agreement between Jelurida and the child chain provider that will define exactly the responsibilities of Jelurida and of the child chain provider, so that we can work together. Right. In the future, if you are asking me if there will be a way for anyone to create a child chain, I mean, it's something we, of course, discussed a lot, and it's all the options on the table right now. I think if it makes sense, but but in the beginning, we want to have full control to see that we actually have good projects on the platforms, and not some nonsense that will scam people and steal the money and things like that. Because this will be, I think, going back several years, this is what this was the main problem with our asset control and monitoring system, because it was very cheap to set up your own token, so people just treated this as a toy project, if not scam to begin with. Even though we got some nice crowdfunding campaigns even on NXT, but for the most part it was misused for non-critical applications. Let's call it like this.
Right. Right. And that is just a problem in this space, period. There are people out there looking to take advantage of people's lack of knowledge. And
yes,
they are doing a good job of it. But I guess I'm trying to think which direction to take you here. But I think it's also reassuring to know that you are monitoring these not just the assets and the monetary system and things like that, but that you're actually going to be evaluating each child chain project to make sure that it's reputable and
Yes.
represents a real business, that people just can't come and say, hey, look at us, we're a new project. Like we see so many projects out there right now, don't we? Coming out one after another, generating millions of dollars, and the people just disappearing. So I think that's also good. There's just all kinds of reasons to be excited about the business applications, the way we're set up to handle business now with the Ardor platform. So you're expecting it to go smoothly, the Genesis block on January 1st, and we all hope that it does.
I think that it's one of the, I mean, in my programming career, it's one of the most tested projects that I ever participated in.
That's wonderful.
And you know, this community style testing is very effective. I mean, because in my day job, you know, I had two QA persons that tried everything that was developed, but here you have hundreds. So whenever you release something on testnet, and they and very good professionals that report that find interesting problems and think about interesting security issues and so on and so on.
And I wonder if it's because they're passionate about this.
Oh yes, and clearly you cannot compete with the passion that people have with this project. So
that's one of the reasons I like the name of Ardor. So yes. I'm okay with that one, because I think that this community, for as long as a lot of people have stuck around and contributed, you would have to say that it's a passionate driven community.
Oh yes, for sure.
Right.
That's for sure. But I think it's way beyond money. I mean, leave the money aside. People really, you see that people really like this project, and they're really hooked up, regardless if the value goes up or down. And it will go up and it will go down for sure, and there is nothing we can do about it.
Right.
So I mean, but in the long run, if we deliver a roadmap, I think we have one of the best blockchain products out there, if not the best. And if we can deliver a roadmap and continue to work consistently and deliver high quality releases, I think we are in a very good position right now. I'm very optimistic about where Ardor is going. I think that NXT still has many use cases and we'll still see it operational for many years. While Ardor will mature and take its own, market.
Mm-hmm. Right. I want to go back to the fork issue. Every time that you fork, though, it's going to be really important now that we're in development that everybody downloads a new client, right?
Yes, but it will take the way we have a protocol for doing a fork, so we will give people time to upgrade. It's not going to be, I mean, if there is a security bug or crisis or something, then there could be hard forks that everybody needs to leave everything and upgrade. Okay. But that's not how we manage the planned hard fork. With the planned hard fork, we first release the hard fork version, then people has 4 weeks or maybe 6 weeks to upgrade, and only when we reach a certain block height, then the new functionality goes into effect.
Okay, so that's how it will work. Great.
Yes, that's how it should work with hard forks in general. I mean, unexpected things can happen, and did happen in the past. So I think that in the past, I mean, there is a lot in the industry. There is a lot of talking about hard fork as if it's some kind of extreme measure. Mm-hmm. I don't see it this way. I think it's part of the evolution of the blockchain product is to be able to do hard forks, because otherwise your product stagnates, exactly like happens with Bitcoin, that after 3 years of development, they managed to increase the block size from 1 megabyte to 1.007 megabytes. So,
And everybody got so excited.
so, I mean, we are just in the beginning. We
Right.
don't know where this is going. This blockchain thing is going to develop in the next 10 years. We have to be able to introduce new functionality, and we have to be able to be agile and flexible and respond to market conditions. We cannot just say, this is it. We're not doing any new functionality.
And yes, because you have to enter into the game and then adjust and readjust and keep moving forward. We are we are treading into uncharted waters, definitely, and we have been, right. This whole blockchain space is, and certainly with the NXT and the Ardor project being fundamentally different than almost any other project, we're making our own little path even more uniquely. So
yes, I think that going forward, we will try to cooperate with other projects. For example, projects that implement decentralized storage of large files. Maybe we'll have some opportunity to cooperate with projects based on DAG, or projects which focus on anonymity, like the zero knowledge proofs. And we are always looking to cooperate with other technology in order to to give a whole package, because the way I see solutions, real world solutions, are not going to be only about blockchains. The blockchain will be key part of the solution, but there will be many other technologies that will need to interface with the core engine of the blockchain in order to develop a usable product for end user consumption. We will develop a hardware wallet for NXT and Ardor for sure. It's something very high on our priority list.
Yes, you hinted about that. Do you have any? I said you have hinted about that. Are you still hinting, or do we have anything that
it will take time. It's not simple, and there are many technologies out there. I mean, perhaps at some point we'll be able to cooperate with one of the existing providers, or alternatively, we'll develop something from scratch. But it's hardware; it's not our main skill set.
Right.
So I definitely see in the future, once Ardor stabilizes and reaches its full capacity, I see a lot of focus about increasing the scope of our solution. I want to be able to offer products for anyone who is interested in decentralized applications, infrastructure, and if it requires cooperating with other teams, we are definitely open to this. Yes, so because at some point we will have to compete with the IBMs and the Oracles and, and the Microsofts, and for a small startup, it's very difficult, and it's something I already realized in the year and a half that we are working on Jelurida. It's very difficult to compete with these big guys that comes to the management and basically force them to use their solutions.
And these are the solutions right now that are really not working so well, that blockchain is meant to fix. And so in that sense, it is going to be a little competitive, right? But maybe not within the blockchain community and that tech community that wants to offer the better solution. You're looking for collaboration and cooperation there.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, interestingly, you're here, you're a leader in this blockchain space. And so I'm curious to know, when you sit and think about where this is all going to be 10 years from now, what the world's going to be like, how it's going to be different. What do you think about? What do you see?
Look, making this type of predictions is always tricky. I mean,
it's not a prediction, it's an imaginative exercise.
Let's imagine. Okay,
Yes.
I, I can imagine a world where when you need to sign a paper, you don't print it and scan it. Okay.
Okay.
When you vote in the elections, you vote from your smartphone and not go to school and stand in line and vote with an envelope. And on the minute when the polls are closed, you already have the results. Okay.
Yeah.
There are many other examples. You know, the way we are today, businesses are sending invoices by mail, for example, or there are so many places where where we can use blockchain to cooperate. That in almost every area of technology or the way we do business, there are opportunities. Whether or not these opportunities will materialize, it depends on many things. I mean, sometimes you come to industries that really can benefit from blockchain, but they are not willing to cooperate with each other because they are competitors or because there is some government regulations. There are many obstacles to this technology because this technology is mostly not about a single business, but on inter-business or government to business or mainly large businesses cooperating between themselves. And it's all kind of new business paradigm because businesses are so used to competing with each other and not cooperating with each other and hiding information from each other and not sharing information with each other that there are lots and lots of obstacles. Now, whether or not this becomes blockchain will become mainstream, or perhaps it will become a niche for shipping documents. Okay, it could happen. I don't think that's where we're going. I think we will see widespread adoption, but I think it will take a lot of time.
Okay.
In some sense, you can think about it like the internet. You know, I remember in the end of 90s, everybody was looking for the killer application for the internet. What will be the application? It's nice to browse the NBA results, but I want to see what's the application.
So. You know what I won't ask you? I won't ask you what you think the next Google or Apple or Facebook of blockchain will be. We'll just let everybody else imagine that. But kind of hope
look, when blockchain when blockchain becomes mainstream, naturally some of these blockchain startups that we see today, hopefully Jelurida, will become very large and successful companies, and then you can say that it's the next Facebook, yes. Google, and so.
And so that hope, don't we?
So I really hope it's going there. I mean, but at some point, people will pick one of these successful companies and say that it's like it's a Google and Facebook, if they still exist, these companies.
Yeah, because we have to look at all those ones that didn't make it, right? So, you know, you have a unique position in the community. So when I am wrapping up these conversations, I'm asking people to impart some words of wisdom. And so from your unique position, if you had to offer words of advice to anybody that comes to mind, or many groups of people, what would you say?
Okay, I would say that for anyone that starts with a blockchain right now, I think the most important thing is to experiment with it. I mean, don't just trade it on exchanges. Download it, install it, download the blockchain, run into problems, fix them, understand them, buy some tokens, try to do some things, try to understand the essence of this technology. Even if you're only an investor, it will make you a better investor because you'll be able to pick up who has the real the technology and who is just bluffing.
Right.
So I think it's very important, even if you're not a programmer, even if you don't typically use to install software and so on, it's very important that as a businessman, as investor, as entrepreneur, that you actually try this technology. I mean, it will give you, it will take you from, you know, all these entry questions that I'm getting a lot to a much higher level of understanding of where we are going with this technology. So I think people today are afraid to experiment. I mean, don't start experimenting with real tokens. Use a test net. Ask and don't ask questions before you try. Try it, run into a real problem, and then if you can't fix it, then it's time to ask. Then it's time to go on the forum on Slack and so on, and try to resolve your problem and move to the next step and so on.
And that's good advice, because the reality is we still are in a place where we all have to be self-learners in this. There are books, and there are some classes here or there that are starting to emerge, but this is a self-motivated educational process right here. And if you don't educate yourself, you're going to make some serious mistakes.
And in general, my advice to people who are starting projects, instead of, you know, wasting weeks and months in planning and designing and so on, throw everything away and just start your project, okay? You will gain in 2 weeks, you will gain insights and understandings that will take you months and years when you're sitting on the sidelines and planning and talking and so on. Just do it. Maybe you'll fail the first time, then you'll fail the second time, then on the third time you'll learn and you'll get it right. And so I really encourage people to experiment with this technology, and try things, try to understand things, download a source code, compile it, use it, set up your own blockchain, run into problems, fix them, try things, okay? And when it doesn't work, comes to us screaming, okay?
Well, and the really interesting thing is a lot of these exciting projects that are coming here are from people who did just start doing that, right? Mm-hmm. You know, they just jumped in and figured it out. I'm thinking of all the ones that are coming out in the real near future that I'm aware of. It was all pretty much the same story over and over and over again. It's just jump in and see where this takes us. And in some cases, it's pretty impressive where it's taking them. So you never know what you're going to come up with, right?
Exactly.
Wow. Lior, there's a lot of questions that we could be asking you, very specific questions, and I just want to address that. You know, people have very specific questions that they're asking you, or asking in the community right now, but I want to only wish you a happy and prosperous new year, and let's pick up some of those specific questions another time and just keep this a celebration of something really awesome that's going to happen here. Well, that it is happening. I mean, it started with a snapshot, right? And it is going to
yes, snapshot went well. Now let's cross fingers for the real launch of Ardor, and
welcome anybody into this community who's interested in learning with us. There's a big space, and it looks like from what Lior said, there's still a lot of opportunity ahead, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Great. So
yes, it's just the beginning.
Only the beginning. That's right. It is. And I do want to wish you a happy and prosperous new year. And thank you for taking the time to be here.
Thank you, Elizabeth. To you too. For you too.
We'll talk again.
Okay.
Bye.
We'll talk again. Bye. Bye. Bye.